Okay, so we're back in the Keystone Mine, and in this clip we're just walking down the original drift, and now we're back in the main drift. You can see the large steel arch ahead, and then to the left is that muddy junction that we saw in the last video, I believe. So we'll continue down the main drift through these steel set archways and see what we find. This mine is full of pyrite, and here you can see some of that. There's also some quartz and pyrite here. This is a manway and a chute for the older workings. You can see it's timbered, and again, this is kind of right next to the main drift. This is looking forward. You can see there's a bit of standing water on the ground there, but not too much. There's a backfilled or a collapsed drift there. And per the usual, this is just outside of the main drift. More timbered arches. This timbered arch set here is square or rectangular versus arched. It's kind of different. Here we're approaching another large collapse. There's a gap over the top we can squeeze over though. See, the timbers have failed here. That's why all that rock came down. Just on the other side of that collapse, more of this square or rectangular timbering. See some wiring and signal lights up on the ceiling there. It's kind of cool to see. Okay, so we've arrived at another junction here. You see a tunnel going off to the right there. And turning around here, this is back where we came from. We'll head on down that right branching tunnel off the junction first. This is a dynamite storage area primarily, but a lot of it's kind of honeycombed out. This is the 6250 manway. So there's a raise going up to the upper levels of the mine. It's looking up the chute. It's kind of a mess up there. Here's a look inside of one of the dynamite boxes.
This is Atlas Powder Company.
Yeah, it sure is.
So since that says Atlas Powder Company, we're assuming that is dynamite. And like I said, I think those are...
There's a couple sticks of dynamite there you can see. So that's the explosives box we were just looking in. And that's back toward the main drift, and then turning around here, some more honeycombed carved out areas. This tunnel's going off in every direction in this section of the mine for some reason. I'm guessing a lot of those tunnels are exploratory. They were testing the vein to see if it was rich enough to mine. Most of the tunnels in this area were just short dead ends like this one. Here's another branching tunnel that ended in a toilet. Okay, so here's a second dynamite box. And this one has quite a bit more dynamite in it than the last one. You can see the sticks are still packaged in the plastic and the cardboard box. No smoking, obviously, as a safety precaution around there. And now we're exiting that series and honeycombed out area and back onto the main drift. It's back where we came from there. And this is looking forward to the areas of the mine that we haven't explored yet. Here's a small storage room, mostly filled with plumbing equipment, couplings, and a dead end beyond. There's some drill bits. So one really interesting thing we notice here is this large borehole going all the way to the surface. You can see daylight way up there. The interesting thing about this is we're probably 2 miles into the mine at this point, so we're very far underground. So that borehole has to go a long ways to reach the surface, most likely. This is kind of the area that we're in right now. You can see quite a few branching tunnels. And this is going forward along the main drift. There's a ladder going up into a raise, and the tunnel continues onwards. Here's a quick look into the raise we were just looking at. This part of the tunnel is quite large. You can see my lights are really not doing too much in here. There's a wooden chute on the left and a partial collapse beyond that. There's the chute. You can see the chute's pretty large with Justin standing there. And it's unclogged, it goes straight up into a stope. I actually climbed up the ladder adjacent to this chute, but I didn't bring my camera because it was such a tight squeeze. But there wasn't much to see. It was just a multi-level stope going up for probably about 100 feet vertically. This was identified as the 6249 stope, as you can see it by the signage there. Some other interesting signage here, and this is the ladder that I was talking about. You can see there's a chute next to the ladder for equipment, and a storage area here with a door. Here's a look at up the raise. This raise is platform to platform, and it's at a pretty shallow incline, so it wasn't super hazardous climbing up that. Here's a air tank partially buried by the collapse. So you might be wondering what caused this collapse here, and the answer is that there used to be a second chute here. You can see the remains of the chute there, but some of it's come down, and then that's actually looking up the chute itself, the passage that the ore would have come down. But that's all come down, collapsed, and a bunch of materials now blocking the tunnel a little bit. So another look at the collapsed chute and a bag of Lay's potato chips. We also found a break room adjacent to these two chutes, which we're in now. There's the table and a raincoat. It looks like they called this place the doghouse. Seemed like kind of a fitting name. There's a desk here as well, and a chair, and then a blasting cap storage box. There's a number of other smaller artifacts, mostly probably from the 70s and the 80s. So we're going to exit the break room now and head back to the crosscut. The water beyond that collapse near the break room was too deep for my rubber boots. Justin continued onwards with his waders and found a couple more similar collapses with deep water beyond. So we decided just to go back to the main junction here and check out the left-hand drift, and as well as this continuation of the crosscut. You can see here. So this crosscut continuation goes into another storage area. You can see a workbench there on the right, a battery, and a couple other miscellaneous items. It's pretty much just a big pile of trash there. More batteries and a storage closet with 2 doors. Okay, so we're going to leave off here, and in the next video you'll see the left-hand drift of this level, and then the video following that will be of one of the upper levels of the mine.